Hello everyone and welcome to another video where today I'm out in one of the harder to reach places on the property, specifically because I'm trying to sort of pathfind different ways to get around and make things easier for myself later on. You see, one thing you gotta realize is that so many different wild animals go through these areas. You know, this is their life. So oftentimes they will make paths through the wilderness. Even dense thickets like this will often have small paths that you can find. Problem is, a lot of times they're not sized up for humans. The camera's at eye level right now, and even fully hunched over, I can just barely get through there. But let's see what's at the end of this tunnel. Alright, gotta watch my footing. I stepped in mud once already. And move through. Let's see here. Alright. Man, it is interesting being under here in these thickets. I always do find it somewhat, what's the word? Enticing, mystical, that sort of deal. Anyway, let's move a little further up to that tree. Here's the part where I'm going to have to move some things out of the way a bit. Not too bad. I've had to deal with worse. I prefer to go on my hands and knees through paths that are already present because, you know, this thicket does provide good cover for wild animals, and I'm sure they like it that way. Alright, now we're up here to the point where I've been before in terms of pathfinding paths that are actually sized enough for a human. So let's push forward through to here. Alright. And here we are. Well, that's one way from there to here, which, if you understand the layout of the property, is probably one of the hardest places where you could possibly attempt to go from A to B. And, as with all adventure, there's also something worthwhile at the end. This is a tree that is not very common to see anymore. Unfortunately, because this is an American elm. Still alive. Not doing as well as I'd possibly like. Probably has a lot to do with the vines, both native and invasive. I've been trying to keep an eye on them, make sure they're not choking it out too much. But this tree is... most of them actually died. Got hit with a bad disease in the 20th century, and it's rare to see one this old. I was actually legitimately surprised when I figured out that this was an American elm. I'm still not 100% sure. I mean, you never really can be, but based on all the research I've done, this is almost certainly one. But a little further up and I'll show you the reason why I'm almost 100% sure that that is a bona fide American elm that managed to escape Dutch elm disease, which killed almost all of the big, mature American elms, at least in this part of the country. Ah, much better. There's the American elm tree we were taking a look at, and one of the reasons I'm almost certain that it is an American elm tree is that its children litter the place. And they're a lot easier to identify because the bark is so characteristic, and I can get a good look at all the leaves, the texture. You know, American elm leaves are very coarse, and specifically the leaves on the younger ones were actually quite a bit bigger than the ones that I could see on the tree, at least from what I could tell. I mean, distance is a thing, it can be a bit difficult. There we go. Here's a better representation of the large leaves that really set in stone that these were American elms. Other elms, even native ones, apparently don't have leaves that are this big. And as you might be able to tell, one of the main reasons I've been searching for easier paths through this area are because I really need to keep the invasives in check, and I focused on other areas prior, you know, easier to reach places, but now I really need to get this under control. Anyway, that's all I really had for today. Bit of an informal video, but I wanted to try something new. And with this tree, it's just, I mean, understanding how uncommon it is to find one that still survives like this. I really hope it stays around a little while longer so I can show you guys what it looks like when it's all healthy and green. Anyway, hope you guys learned something and enjoyed. See ya.